What's going on, guys? So in today's video I'm going to be discussing the Feiyutech AK2000, my experience with this gimbal, the pros and the cons I had while I was using the stabilizer, and my overall experience, and if I feel like it's a right fit for you.
I don't know what it is about it.
Now real quick, let's take a look at what you'll be getting if you happen to purchase this gimbal. This gimbal will come with a carrying case. Inside of the carrying case, it will have the warranty and manuals, the 4 batteries that you'll need to power up this gimbal with the battery charger, a tripod that is connected to the gimbal itself, a quick release plate, which is actually a Manfrotto, which that in itself is a big plus for me when using this gimbal. It comes with the standard shutter release cables that you can use for either your Panasonic, Sony, Canon, or another DSLR in general. And it comes with your USB cables and the screws that you need for the pieces. Now another plus that comes within this gimbal is a lens support frame that you actually screw onto the end of the Manfrotto plate, and it attaches to the stabilizer while you're using it, and it helps support your lens. That is a big plus for me when I was using this. Now something else I also like when I was unboxing this gimbal was the actual presentation itself and how everything was placed in such a way that all you had to do was take it out, and it didn't take that long to actually set up and put together. Now another thing that I did like when I was unboxing this gimbal and setting everything up was the instructions were very easy to read and understand, and there isn't a lot of extra pieces within this box. Everything that you need is in this box ready to go, and all you have to do is attach the pieces together and put the batteries in the bottom of the stabilizer and stabilize it obviously, and then the gimbal is ready to go. Now one other quick thing I did want to cover before we get into this detailed review is that this is not a sponsored video. I was not paid by Feiyutech. They did send me this gimbal to do a review. However, like I said, I was not paid, and this is not a sponsored video. So everything that I'm going to be talking about in my experience with this gimbal is my honest review. I wasn't paid, so let's go ahead and get into it. Now the price of the Feiyutech AK2000 is going to come in at around $308 USD, and the weight capacity of the Feiyutech AK2000 is going to come in at 2.8 kg or 6.17 pounds. Now right off the bat, the most important thing probably to a lot of people is how hard was it to set up and to stabilize? And the answer is it wasn't hard, nor did it take that long to set up this gimbal and to stabilize it. Now I've used other stabilizers before, like the Ronin M and the Ronin S. So the pan, tilt, and roll axis stabilized parts are all the same with all of the gimbals in general. So if you know how to stabilize it on a Ronin or a Ronin M or Ronin S, you can carry it over to the Feiyutech. And if you're somebody who's never used a stabilizer or a gimbal before, Feiyutech does a great job of including in the instruction manual how to stabilize and to set up this gimbal, as well as on their mobile app. If you download it to your phone, they give you a very detailed video showing you how to stabilize it as well. That in itself was a huge plus, because not only are they showing it to you in their manual that you can read and then just look at the pictures, but they're also giving you a hands-on video that's showing you how to stabilize it in real time. Now one main important thing for me when I'm looking at a gimbal is how is the build set up and how is the durability while I'm using this gimbal, as far as holding the gimbal and the actual feel of the gimbal while you're using it. Is it durable? Is it comfortable? Can you use it for long periods of time? With the Feiyutech AK2000, they did a great job of actually designing this build setup. It's very comfortable, and for me, I can use this for long periods of time. Now another thing to note with the Feiyutech is it has 1/4 inch threaded holes, so you can attach an external monitor or put it onto another gimbal such as a Steadicam. Now when it comes to this style gimbal, I would try to stay minimalistic. I wouldn't start adding extra pieces such as an external monitor or anything like that, because it's going to add to the weight capacity of the gimbal, and it's going to actually, to me, become very uncomfortable, and it's not really built for long use if you start putting extra attachments on like that. So it is there if you want to use it, but however, I wouldn't recommend using an external monitor or anything like that on this kind of gimbal. Now, one of the biggest pluses that I found when I was using this gimbal is the magic ring that they have on the side of this gimbal, as well as the 4-way joystick that you're able to use on the gimbal. Now, when it comes to the magic ring, this was a huge plus for me because it's able to control certain aspects of the gimbal and the camera itself that while you're out in the field will be a huge relief and plus for you when you're shooting with this gimbal. The magic ring is able to control the zoom of the camera, the follow of the camera, the pan tilt 3 axis of the camera, and the function mode control, which is able to do things such as focus in and out of the shot that you're shooting on the camera with the gimbal. Now, once you've set up and stabilized this camera and you start using the touchscreen on the gimbal itself, you're gonna notice that there's 4 shoot modes, and then there's 3 subcategory shoot modes within the 4 shoot modes. Now, the 4 shoot modes that this camera offers is the HF mode, which is following the pan movement, the TF mode, which is following the tilt and the pan, the AF mode, which follows the all 3 axes, so tilt, pan, and roll. And then the best and the huge thing for me that I loved about this gimbal was the LK mode, which is the lock mode. Now, the 3 subcategories within these 4 shoot modes is going to be the HFR, the LKR, and the TFR. What that's doing is that's adding in the roll access to one of the 3 shoot modes that you're currently in. Now, the R mode won't be included in the AF mode because the AF mode is already following all 3 axes of the tilt, the pan, and the roll, so it won't be included in the AF mode. Now, another cool thing to note about this gimbal was their 360 spin effect that it allows you to do on this gimbal. All you have to do is put it into HF mode and tilt the gimbal horizontally, and then while it's horizontal, you triple tap the mode button and it goes into AF mode, and now you're able to create that 360 spin effect by either doing it handheld by just rolling the gimbal, or you can use the 4-way joystick. Now, that was something that I found with this gimbal that's very cool and that I definitely will be utilizing using this gimbal, and I'm sure a lot of people who use this gimbal and buy this gimbal will want to use that as well. Now, a really cool thing that I noticed about this gimbal was the selfie mode that they offer. In order to get to selfie mode, all you have to do is triple tap the power button and it turns the gimbal and camera 180 degrees to now face you, or selfie mode. Now, the selfie mode was another plus for me, and I feel like it's something that a lot of people who choose to purchase this gimbal, especially if they're vloggers or influencers, will choose to utilize while they're using this gimbal. Now, one of the huge pluses for me with this gimbal was the functionality between the gimbal itself and the smartphone application. Now, setting up the smartphone application to pair with the gimbal itself through Wi-Fi was very easy and convenient, and they offered step-by-step guides in the actual smartphone application itself on how to pair these 2 things together. Now, another thing to note with the smartphone application, besides being able to control the gimbal through the smartphone, such as joystick settings, motor strength, all the mechanics of the gimbal through the smartphone, is the fact that the smartphone application offers tutorials. That to me is a huge plus in itself, because when you use the smartphone application, you're able to choose the Feiyutech product that you purchased. Now, within this tutorial section of the product that you choose from Feiyutech in their smartphone application, they offer a wide range of tutorials. Basically anything that you want to know or utilize with this gimbal, they offer in their tutorial section. So that for me was a huge plus. Now, the last thing that I want to cover with this gimbal that I personally liked was the actual size of the gimbal and the weight load that it's able to hold for the size of this gimbal. Now, if you didn't know already, I travel full-time with an artist doing his visual content, and not every time we travel am I able to take a full-size suitcase. With the Feiyutech AK2000, if I don't take the case with me and it can't fit in the suitcase, I'm able to take actually all of the pieces and break it down and put it in the smallest suitcase I have, which is a carry-on bag. Now, with this gimbal, I've already traveled overseas as well as multiple places across the United States, and I've had no problem while having it in my carry-on suitcase or a check-in suitcase. Just a little quick note I thought my travelers would like to know, who want that stabilization for their videos, who may not want to take a full-fledged stabilizer like a glide cam, a steady cam, a Ronin or a Ronin M or something along those lines. This fits perfectly in a carry-on suitcase or a full-fledged suitcase. I'm actually going to be taking this on my next trip, which will be to Dubai. Last but not least, I wanted to quickly cover the battery life for this gimbal, which lasts approximately 12 hours. Now, the only cons, or personally the con for me that I found about this gimbal, was the latch on the side that holds the camera and the Manfrotto in place on the gimbal itself. Now, the problem that I had with the latch was when I would go to unlock it to be able to properly balance the gimbal, there's no convenient place to hold onto the gimbal while unlatching the lock. So basically what would happen is every time I would go to unlock the latch, it would either fall forward really quickly or fall backward. I'd almost have to go to try to catch the camera and the Manfrotto before it fell on the ground. So that's my only con with this gimbal is the inconvenience of the placing of the latch itself. Now, after running into this problem, after several times of use and trial and error, I figured out a safe place where I can put my hand on the gimbal and safely attach and detach the camera from the gimbal itself without it having moving forward or backward really fast. So even though this is a problem that I did fix with this gimbal, I do realize that this is something that a lot of you all are probably going to have problems with first using this gimbal. So obviously I did want to put this within this review. So when it comes to this gimbal, that's the only con that I did have was the latch problem. And like I said, I did figure it out. So once I got past that, this gimbal is perfect for me. So with all that being said, this is a gimbal that I would recommend to anybody who's looking for a handheld stabilizer for their next project or who just wants to purchase a handheld gimbal. Now, as I said before, I was not paid to review this gimbal and this is not a sponsored video. They did send me this gimbal to review, however, I was not paid to review this gimbal. They did, however, send me a link that my followers and anybody who's viewing this video, I'll leave the link down below, can go to that link, and when you go to purchase this gimbal, it will take 10% off the cost of this purchase. Now, if there's anything in this review video that I didn't cover, be sure to leave a comment down below and ask me any questions you have related to this gimbal, and I'll be sure to get back to you and answer all your questions. Now guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content like this from me, be sure to leave a thumbs up, comment and share this video, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much guys, and I'll catch y'all next time.